Okay, welcome to tutorial 1, how to make a simple model using Fusion 360. In this case, turn it around so we can read it, we're going to make a key fob. This will do two things for us, well, three things really. It's going to allow us to create a model for the first time in Fusion 360, and from this we can create drawings of this object if we want to manufacture it and have some technical drawings. And we can also export it as an STL file and 3D print it, which is what we're also going to do. So let's get going. How do we make this basic key fob? Well, we're going to start a new file. So if you've opened Fusion 360 for the first time, you'll see kind of a blank screen. And you're going to head up here and you're going to start by creating a new design. Now it automatically opens a new design for you and calls it untitled, but let's pretend that wasn't open, and I'll just go and open up here with this little file image, and we'll hit new design. And a new tab opens up at the top, and this is how Fusion 360 keeps track of the various designs you're working on. Like this is a previous one that I drew, obviously, and I've already named it, and this one is untitled because we have yet to save it. I highly recommend saving right away. We're going to hit save, and we're going to call it something, but it's good to also save it to a location. If you hit this drop down menu on location, you'll see that you can set up locations in Fusion 360. You do that by establishing a top folder called the project, and then that might be like Maker 8 is the project, and then you inside that make subfolders. Here I'd make a new folder, so I've created a top folder called Isfeld, and my subfolder is called Maker 8, and inside that I'm saving all of my designs. So there's the one you saw when I opened up, it's called key fob, and now what I'm going to do is throw this one in here, key fob, maybe I'll space it, fob tutorial. There we go. So this should go underneath Isfeld, underneath Maker 8, and the design will be called key fob tutorial. I'll hit save. When I do that, it changes the name up here, and it changes the name over here. This is called our browser tree. This will keep track of some things for us. There will also be a history that's kept track of on the bottom. So basically, like any software, it's going to be a little foreign at first, and there's many more features than we are using. So apparently I'm not connected to the internet. What we're going to do is do as I do, basically, and we'll work our way through it. So here we go. The first thing is we're going to, as we always do in 3D modeling, we're going to start by creating a sketch. This is a two-dimensional drawing, not a three-dimensional drawing. We'll get there in a second. And we do that by heading up here. There's create a sketch button. There's also, if you go underneath this drop down, it's create a sketch down here. So either place, I'll do it here since I'm here, create a sketch. And when you do that, this pops up. This is called the origin. It's mentioned over here in the browser tree. And the origin shows us 3 dimensions of space. And these flat surfaces, this one here, is called a plane. So P-L-A-N-E. And so up here you'll see that I can construct some planes if I want. But right now I'm just going to hit escape. This origin plane to draw on. You must draw your sketch on something. And right now we have no object to draw on because we haven't got anything, so we have to draw on one of these planes. I'm going to pick the top plane. And how do I know this is the top plane? Well, if you look over here, there's something called a view cube, and this cube orients these planes. This one's the top. If I click on it, it would orient right to this. I'm not going to click on it right now. Then this would be the front, so the one that would be associated with the front is this one, and then this is the right hand side, so that would be like looking at it this way. So let's pick top view, and we'll just click on it, and right away, boom, it rotates out of the origin, and we're staring at our sketching space. I know I'm in sketching because up here I have a check mark that says finish the sketch, which I don't want to do yet because I haven't even started my sketch. So let's start sketching. Our sketching tools are mainly up here. Oh, and by the way, you can keep track of the main headings here. We're either in solids or we're in sketching, and right now we're in sketching, so we'll keep track of that as we go. I have choices, lines, rectangles, circles, and underneath the create here, I have a bunch of other options. So what we're going to start with is a rectangle. There's 3 different ways to draw rectangles. We're going to pick this one, center rectangle. click it. Then what you're going to do is you're going to click the center of this little dot here, which is the origin. It's the center of that origin that we were looking at earlier. Click that and drag. One click out and drag. And then when you do that, you will see these measurements. Now, I'm just going to try that one more time. I'm going to go back up here and hit rectangle, center rectangle. And this time I'm going to do 2 clicks, like you might have just done. When you do that, it's not, I mean, we can deal with this later, but right now we don't want to be here. So the way to undo things in most programs is Control Z. I've said it over and over, Control Z is your friend. So hit Control Z, undo it, go back, try again, and we'll go center rectangle, pull it out, only 1 click and then pull. Now what this allows me to do is put in some measurements. Now right away I see that I'm dealing in inches. It shows me on the screen. And I want to work in millimeters today for some reason, which is strange for me. So I'm actually going to hit escape and stop drawing my rectangle. And I'm going to change my units on the fly. And I can do that under document settings here. You hit this expand arrow and you expand what's underneath document settings and it says inches. Click this here, double click it, and you can change the unit type. A little dialog box pops up. We'll hit millimeters and push OK. You can also set it as default so it always opens up like that. Now we're going to go back and make that rectangle again. So maybe 3rd or 4th time making the rectangle, but this time when I click once and pull, I'm in millimeters. And so I'm going to punch in some measurements that I think work well for a key fob. I mean, key fobs can be all different sizes, but we're going to go this way for now. So I see that on my left here, there's a blue window. It says 70 millimeters. I'm going to consider that the width of my key fob, not its length. And I think the width of the key fob should be about 30 millimeters. So I'm just going to punch in there 30. Now I want to go and change the length. So how do I get to that other box? Well, what you do is you use Tab on your keyboard. So click Tab, and when you click Tab, you'll see it jumps back and forth between the 2 measurements. So what I'm going to do is change the length now to about 55 maybe. And I'm just going to look at the proportions and decide if I think that kind of looks like a key fob, something that you would attach to your keys. So yes, that'll work for me. Let's go back to that. There we go. So I'm going to accept that. It's good. If I wanted to change it though, I could just double click and then I could change the number. So I'll go over here and escape. I could double click this one and change the number. But I'm okay with what I've got, so I don't need to change it. So I'm just going to accept it and hit escape to get out of that edit. Now we're going to click the actual bluey space in here, and you'll see it turns dark blue. And what I want to do now is extrude this, or make it 3D. So I'm going to hit E on my keyboard for extrude, and it looks like nothing happened, but this dialog came up, and it's something about extruding. But if I hold down the Shift on my keyboard and then press and hold the middle mouse button down, I can then get this orbit. See my mouse turned into something that looks like it's orbiting? Well, now I can just move around and I can orbit this. And what used to look like this, I'll go back to it, click the top, and it looks like this. You realize by holding Shift and middle mouse button down, or middle mouse scroll wheel down, that there's an arrow pointed there. We were looking straight down on it from above, so we couldn't see the arrow. So now what we're going to do is drag this up a certain distance. Now the distance we're going to drag it up is about 3 millimeters right now. That's 1/8 of an inch. So there we go, and hit enter. So maybe that was a bit quick, so I'll jump back into it. See down here, it's keeping track in the history exactly all of the moves I made. The first move I made was to make a sketch, and this is the extrusion I just made. If I right click on it, I can edit that. And then I can go back in and see what I did. Oh, look, I made a 3 millimeter extrusion. If I change it and push OK, oh, look at that. It's now a 10 millimeter extrusion. Not a great key fob. If I hit Control Z, it goes back to the 3 because I've just undone that change I made. So if I went into the sketch right here, double click, I could go back and edit the sketch if I want, and then finish the sketch, and the extrusion would automatically be updated. So you can always go back and edit things after you've made them. They're never permanent. So you can go back and just make a change and then come back and see what it looks like. Okay, so that's the first part. All we were going to do is make the shape on this one. We're going to modify the shape in the next one. I wonder if you can hear my cat in the background. He's talking. All right, that's it for now. The next one we're going to look at adding a raised border and maybe rounding these edges a little bit here. So that's good for now.